Hey, what is up, you guys? It is Tyler. Welcome back to the Tyler Williams channel, and welcome to another episode of the Chill Pill Podcast, the only wrestling podcast who delivers you all your wrestling news that you need in a very tranquilo manner. Which we all know is a damn lie, but we gonna keep that gimmick rolling for as long as we can, okay? Anyway, guys, this is episode 9. This might be the first time I've actually done the Chill Pill Podcast, like, a week out from each other. Like, I'm trying my best to keep this as consistent as possible. I've been trying to keep up with all the wrestling news and all that good shit. So I don't have a lot of wrestling news to cover this week, but all the news I have to cover is big stories. A lot of big stuff happening in wrestling. We just got off of AEW Revolution, which I will be reviewing in this episode of the Chill Pill Podcast later in the show. That being said, guys, let's waste no time and get straight into this episode. But before I talk about all that stuff coming up, I'm going to plug it one more time. My WWE 2K19 series, Mat-Based Combat, is coming to an end. The series is going to be ending on April the 4th and April the 5th. It's going to be their Wrestle Kingdom shows for Wrestlemania weekend. It's going to be some great computer-generated wrestling that I put a lot of time into, so I hope you guys watch it. We do have 2 shows coming up. Our Road 2 shows, which will be on March the 8th, this coming Sunday before Elimination Chamber, and March 25th, right before AEW Blood and Guts. Those will be the last 2 shows building up to 2 NBC Wrestle Kingdom. So I hope to see you all there for those 4 shows. That being said, now let's get straight into the wrestling news. So, first thing we gotta talk about here is the dreaded coronavirus. I know you guys hear about it all the time and it's tiresome, but this is a serious thing we're dealing with here. It's now been announced that 3,000 people have died from the coronavirus. That's insane. That's really crazy. And I know a lot of people are not even making a big deal, but like, oh, it's just like the flu. I've seen many people saying it's just like the flu and the flu kills people, but there's no cure for the coronavirus right now. So I need people to stop saying that it's just like the flu, because you can easily get a flu shot and prevent that shit. There's no way to prevent the coronavirus except for like not fucking touching anything, really. And just hoping no one you know has the virus, so that way you're not affected by it. But a few companies that are affected by it greatly is Japan. We talked about in the last episode of Chill Pill Podcast that both Stardom, DDT, and now Dragon Gate has canceled a lot of their shows going into this month. Stardom canceled about 8 of their shows from February 22nd to March 8th. They're having their open or no people gate show happening on March the 7th at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time, which I will be watching. I'm really excited for that show. It's really sad they had to cancel a bunch of their shows because one of that shows featured the likes of I believe it was Mayu Iwatani versus Jungle Kyona for the World of Stardom Championship, which I thought was going to be really good. I didn't expect Jungle to win it, but, you know, sooner, I guess, we will be getting that match. We are coming up very soon on Stardom's annual Stardom Cinderella tournament, so maybe that's the time for Jungle to win. Who knows? We'll talk about Stardom at a later date. But one thing I do want to talk about that's really affected by this coronavirus is a company we all know and love, and that is New Japan Pro Wrestling, who last week canceled 8 shows, or maybe even more shows, regarding New Japan Cup and the New Japan Anniversary show, which was supposed to be taking place tomorrow. The show's supposed to hold Tetsuya Naito versus Hiromu Takahashi, which is very disappointing. We won't be getting that match. I expect we'll be getting it very much later in the year, possibly even next month at Sakura Genesis. Maybe Sakura Genesis, I don't know. Maybe. We'll see about that. But the biggest thing here is their annual New Japan Cup tournament seems to have been canceled. They basically have canceled the first few dates for the tour, and knowing that this is a 32-man tournament, how are they going to be able to put this tournament on? That's the question people have been asking. New Japan has not updated us on if they're going to be actually still officiating this tournament, or whether they're going to cancel it and move it to later in the year, because everyone knows they've had to move G1 Climax already because of the Tokyo Olympics, which I know the Olympics are still happening, but with the coronavirus, is just, man, it's really fucking wild out here, man. back to what I was talking about, though. But the Olympics is coming up in the summer, and that's why G1 Climax got pushed to the fall. So the G1 Climax already got pushed back. New Japan Cup potentially get pushed back as well, but that would mess up pretty much all their scheduling. That already got messed up from the Olympics. So the question is, will they do the New Japan Cup? I don't know, but my thing is, I think I found out a way for New Japan to make way and end up doing the New Japan Cup in enough time to prepare for Sakura Genesis. Now, here's how I pose they do it. New Japan has shows canceled from March the 1st to March 15. Yes, that is a good portion of the New Japan Cup. This leaves 5 open dates for New Japan Cup. March the 16th, March the 17th, March the 18th, March the 20th, and March the 21st. Those are the only dates New Japan has available for the New Japan Cup as we speak. And like I said earlier, New Japan Cup is a 32-man tournament, so the only way New Japan can manage to get this tournament to keep going is that they cut in half this tournament from 32 to 16 men. So if you guys go down the list of people confirmed for New Japan Cup and all the matches confirmed New Japan Cup, you have Togi Makabe versus Jeff Cobb, Tomohiro Ishii versus Toru Hanare, Toru Yano versus Chase Owens, Colt Cabana versus Balak Fale, Kazuchika Okada versus Jay White, Yuji Nagata versus Minoru Suzuki, Juice Robinson versus Alex Coughlin, David Finlay versus Tonga Loa, Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Taichi, Kota Ibushi versus Zack Sabre Jr., Mikey Nichols versus Sonata, Will Ospreay versus Hiroshi Tenzan, Carl Fredericks versus Kenta, Satoshi Kojima versus Hiroki Goto, Satoshi Kojima versus Evil, sorry about that, and Hiroki Goto versus Yujiro Takahashi, where the 16 match is supposed to take place in the first round. And I believe they want to get this to go through, they have to cut that first round. The entire first round has to be cut out, and you got to skip straight to round 2, which will be the qualifying round at this point. Now, exactly how do you go about that? And it's plain and simple, and I know it's going to suck for a lot of the talent, but I think you're going to have to take 8 of those matches from the first round and just put them in round 2, and then 8 matches from round 1 will just not take place. It just can't. It just can't. Or you can just mismatch some matches for round 2, but I think, in my opinion, you can take Okada versus Jay White. You could take Juice Robinson versus Alex Coughlin. You could take David Finlay versus Tonga Loa. You could take Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Taichi. You could take ZSJ versus Zack Sabre Jr. You could take Will Ospreay versus Shingo Takagi. You could take Sonata versus Mikey Nichols. And you can either take Goto versus Takahashi, or you could take Kenta versus Carl Fredericks. You could also put in Kojima versus Evil as well. And boom, that's like 8 matches right there for you. Now, I'm not going to book this entire New Japan Cup because, you know, time and I don't know what they're going to do. But put it that way. You have 8 matches for the first round. That's a qualifying round. You run 4 matches, 4 rounds, all 4 rounds, or at least half the rounds, for that qualifying round on the 16th. 4 match step on the 16th. On day 2, on March 17th, you won 4 more matches. The last half of the qualifying rounds. So boom, now you have a quarterfinals of 8 men. For March 18th, you run all the quarterfinals. All 4 matches from the quarterfinals we ran on March 18th. That gets the quarterfinals out of the way. Then, on March 20th, you won both matches from the semifinal rounds. You just do some tag matches and boom, you have the semifinals done on March 20th. And that leaves March 21st to take place the finals of New Japan Cup. Boom. New Japan Cup is done. It's over with. And if you even want to put it on the card, you can work Tetsuya Naito versus Hiromu Takahashi into the finals of the New Japan Cup. And boom, there it is. New Japan Cup is here to stay. That's how I would do it. Now, I did my predictions for New Japan Cup a while back. You guys can go check that video out. I was wrong in my assessment of Jon Moxley being in it. But if I had to update it, I still believe that Sonata will win New Japan Cup. If it happens. If it happens. I laid it out for them. So if anyone from New Japan is hearing this, you can still do the New Japan Cup. It's possible. Getting away from New Japan there, we're getting into the coronavirus once again. But even now, it's working its way over to the States. Now, we all know there's cases in the United States already. But Yesterday, it was reported that the coronavirus has found its first case in the Tampa Bay area. We are 1 month out from Wrestlemania in Tampa, Florida, and the coronavirus is now found a case in Tampa. Now, this is alarmed everybody in the wrestling community, especially people like me who are planning to travel to Tampa for WrestleMania weekend. Many people questioning, is WrestleMania going to be canceled? Is WWE going to actually, for the first time ever, cancel WrestleMania? Is it? Here's my stance on it right now. Coming from a fan who plans to go to Tampa. Now, before the coronavirus even was a thing, I planned to go to WrestleMania this year. When the coronavirus came around in January, it was alarming, and it started spreading a lot. And I thought about the possibility. Could this make its way into Tampa? Could the coronavirus come into Tampa before WrestleMania weekend? I thought about it, and I said it could happen. If it happens, am I willing to go? I said I don't know. I don't know how serious this thing is. Then the kill count started coming up. And now we got a case in Tampa. It's only 2 people, and they've been quarantined. But those 2 people could have touched multiple things, and more people can touch those things, and they can contract the virus. Now, the Department of Health in Tampa or in the United States, they've put out some warnings to certain companies, but they have not commissioned to have any events shut down yet. And until they commission to have events shut down in the area, I don't believe WrestleMania is going to get canceled. I don't believe Vince McMahon is going to just straight up shut down an annual event, the biggest event he ever has, for some virus. Vince McMahon is one of those guys who doesn't even like people being sick around him. You think he really cares about some damn virus going around? I think Vince McMahon will probably have his wrestler come out in full-on hazmat suits before he cancels WrestleMania. So no, unless the states gets involved, I think WrestleMania is still going to happen. Now, as far as the independent wrestling shows that weekend, that's a big question on whether they will be happening or not. I hope they are because I still have my tickets booked. Now, the question for me is, am I still attending WrestleMania weekend? Now, if I were planning and I didn't have anything, already made, ready to go, I'd have been like, you know what? Maybe it's not worth it. You know what I mean? Maybe it's not worth going. I mean, luckily enough for me, I was able to get out of Japan in enough time for the coronavirus to reach them. I got out of there before it got to Japan. Now I'm going straight to where it is. So I had to think. I thought long and hard about this when I woke up this morning. I heard about it. And I'm like, I booked my flights. I booked my Airbnb. I've booked several tickets. I booked meet and greets. I booked WrestleCon conventions. I've already spent a good few $100s on this trip. I cannot manage to lose out on all of that money. I just can't. So, is there a chance I could potentially get the coronavirus? Yes, there's a potential chance that anyone living in the Tampa area can get the coronavirus. But you have to live your life. You can't live in fear. That's how I see it. You can't live in fear. If I go there and I get the virus, then you know what? Oh well. It happened. I'll be quarantined, whatever the fuck. Hopefully I don't fucking die. But I'm still going to Tampa because there's nothing we can do to prevent it. There is no cure. There's really no... The only way you can prevent yourself from getting the virus is by getting away from people who could... Like the first person who even remotely looks like they're about to cough, I'm leaving the venue. That's just how it's gonna be. If you look sick, I'm not staying. I'm leaving. I'll just give my refund, and that's just it. Like if I go to Horticulture and someone says, I'm already gone. I'm already out the door. But that being said, wear gloves. Stay away from people who look sick. Don't wear masks. I hear a lot of people saying they're going to wear masks to try to prevent it. Masks have already been proven they're not going to work. Unless you don't plan to, breathe, you can't not wear a mask. You can't. And on top of that, when you wear a mask, then it looks like you possibly have it. And that's the last thing you want. You don't want people to think you have it, because then people are going to want to stay away from you. So, if you're going to Tampa area like me, take a bunch, and I mean a bunch of hand sanitizer with you. Because that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have it on deck with me at all times. Whenever I'm done shaking hands, or you know what, I'm sanitizing, I'm rubbing myself, and I'm not playing no games when I go. So yes, I am going to WrestleMania weekend, and I'm taking major precaution when I do. Going into WrestleMania, we talk about Super Showdown. Now, as you guys may or may not know, I don't watch any Saudi Arabia shows that WWE produces. After the Jamal Khashoggi incident, I said I'm done. I'm not watching any of these events. I can't support it. I cannot support it. And I have not watched a single event since the Greatest Rumble so far. I know the results. I might have seen clips, not through YouTube, but from Twitter. I have never seen a full-length match from any Saudi Arabia show since the Greatest Rumble, though. But let's talk about 3 matches that happened on Super Showdown that are very much important going into WrestleMania weekend. Brock Lesnar defended his WWE Championship against Ricochet. Ricochet got jobbed out in 2 minutes, basically, from what I hear. He got no offense in, and Brock Lesnar hit 1 F5 and pinned him. No one should be shocked by this, honestly and truly. Nobody should be shocked by the fact that Brock Lesnar jabroned Ricochet out. Now, I'm not sitting here and saying that Ricochet deserved it. Ricochet isn't worthy of getting offense in on Brock Lesnar. But think about the lineup of people he's faced in the last few years. Brock Lesnar. Smaller guys. We have AJ Styles, a former WWE champion, a guy who's been pushed very heavily in WWE. Daniel Bryan, a former WWE champion, someone's been pushed very heavily in WWE over the last 10 years. Finn Balor, a guy who, while we can't say he's been pushed super prominently, is a former Universal Champion and remarkably one of the best talent WWE has, and currently is working in NXT. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any other smaller guys he's faced in the last few years, except for Seth Rollins, who I wouldn't even say is small. Seth Rollins got the most offense in out of all the 4 guys I've mentioned, and that's because Seth Rollins is a heavyweight. But if you're talking about those lightweight guys, it's the 3 I just named. Daniel Bryan, Finn Balor, and AJ Styles, who all have set careers. Ricochet, for all that's worth, is really not a top guy yet in WWE. Yes, he has the moves, he has the stature. I don't think WWE is ever going to get behind him completely. But he doesn't really spring out as a guy who can beat Brock Lesnar. AJ Styles seems like a guy who can outsmart or outwit Brock Lesnar. Daniel Bryan can outsmart or outwit Brock Lesnar. Finn Balor can outsmart, outwit, or even have the resilience to last and withstand Brock Lesnar. Ricochet does not seem like that type of guy. So I was not surprised when I heard this. I wasn't angry, I wasn't pissed, I'm just like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do, right? Ricochet will go back to doing whatever he's doing, but at this point in time, you could sleep on the fact of Ricochet becoming a WWE champion. I don't think it's happening. He's found his place in the main roster as a mid-carder or even a top star, like a top mid-carder. But as far as him main event in WrestleMania, I heard they advertised the potential main event of Drew McIntyre versus Ricochet at WrestleMania, and I laughed hard because the thought of Ricochet walking into WrestleMania as the WWE champion to face Drew McIntyre, that match sounds like someone hit random twice in WWE 2K20. And you mean to tell me any of you thought that was going to be the main event of WrestleMania? Alright, bro. Alright. Then we move into the next match. The next major match that happened here at Super Showdown. And that was the Kuwait Tyler-kun Saudi Arabia Cup. I don't know what the fuck this is. The gauntlet match that happened on the show. So it had AJ Styles, R-Truth, Rusev, whoever the fuck was involved in the match. I don't really know. But all I know is that AJ Styles made it to the end. And the last entry in the match was The Undertaker. Made his entrance down in the ring. It was reported by WWE.com that The Undertaker was spotted at a market in Saudi Arabia. So they kind of spoiled it very early on that he was going to be at the show. But, you know, it happens. Such is life, I guess. Undertaker comes down to the ring. Doesn't remove his shirt. Doesn't remove his jacket. I mean, he never removes his shirt. But doesn't remove his jacket. Doesn't remove his hat. Chokeslams AJ Styles. and pins him. And that's it. The Undertaker treated AJ Styles like a jabroni. Beat him in seconds with one chokeslam and won the two-way cup. And then even take the cup with him when he walked to the back. The rumors have been swirling around for a while now that Undertaker is facing AJ Styles at WrestleMania, and now more than ever, I think that's probably what's happening. I mean, not a match that evokes a lot of emotion out of me, but, you know, if anyone carry Undertaker to a good match, probably AJ Styles. Not a match I ever thought I wanted to see, but, you know, I guess this would be cool, I guess. Then we get into the main event of the evening. Goldberg versus The Fiend. Now I said, going into this show, they can't job out The Fiend to Goldberg. I mean, on the last SmackDown going into this show, Goldberg didn't show any fear towards The Fiend. And he speared him. This is the first person to stand up to The Fiend out like a fucking bitch compared to The Fiend. Like, Seth Rollins was in the corner fucking crying and shit in their first match. And then, who was the other guy who faced The Fiend? Was The Miz? He was acting like a coward. I mean, he was acting like such a coward that when the Fiend teased him with a doll in his daughter's room, he let his wife go into the room first. Daniel Bryan, who really, I can't say feared The Fiend all that much, but, you know, there's some seeds of doubt there with Daniel Bryan. Goldberg, he went straight at The Fiend on SmackDown. You know, like, he wasn't even fazed by him. The Fiend was such a coward that he just completely blacked out and disappeared. Comes into Saudi Arabia. From what I hear, we got 4 spears in this match, 2 mandible claw attempts, which is crazy that the Goldberg got out of 2 claw attempts. Claw attempts that have put down men for the count before, or submitted them, and Goldberg got out 2 of them. And I've seen the GIF for this. A horrible, the worst jackhammer I've ever seen. It wasn't even a jackhammer. It was a suplex that at the very last millisecond, he turned into a power slam. He hits it, and the kicker of it all is that the worst jackhammer I have ever seen in my entire fucking life was the jackhammer that beat The Fiend. That's what really pissed me off more than anything, was that The Fiend lost to the worst looking jackhammer. Like, you couldn't have got him up and hit another jackhammer? I mean, I know The Fiend is a heavyweight, and I already knew by the time the match was even announced, I said, when Goldberg goes for the fucking jackhammer, it's not going to be good. And it wasn't. He made The Fiend look like a fucking goof. Jobbing out to the fucking jackhammer. A horrible looking one. I'm going to keep saying it. The jackhammer was horrible, and The Fiend lost to it. A character we've been building up for months now. When we first got that promo from The Fiend, from Bray Wyatt and that Mr. Rogers-like character, I said, you know what, this is weird, but I'm into this. This is different. Then we got introduced to The Fiend. The most destructive monster we've seen since like 1997 Kane. It was something different. It was something fresh. It was something we haven't seen in a long time in WWE. And many people wondered, who's going to beat The Fiend? That was the question. Who is going to beat The Fiend? I've said for months now, I don't know who beats The Fiend. I just want him to keep winning. We were even talking about the fact of The Fiend versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. That's all we all thought was going to be the WrestleMania match, right? And I even said, I would have The Fiend beat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. I think the only person at that point who could beat The Fiend realistically was Brock Lesnar. Do I want to see it? No. But I think if anyone could beat The Fiend, it would be Brock Lesnar. And it probably would be Brock Lesnar. Little did I know, it'd be fucking Goldberg, who decides to show up maybe once a year for Saudi Arabia shows. Goldberg comes in here, beats The Fiend, new Universal Champion. People are livid. When I saw this result, because mind you, I wasn't watching the show. I was on Twitter. I remember, I was walking to work. I checked Twitter, and that's when I saw it. And I literally just sat there, and I laughed. And I said, of course they fucking did. Of course they had Goldberg beat The Fiend. Mind you, I didn't see how he beat The Fiend. But I said, of course they had Goldberg beat The Fiend. I was angry for about a good minute after I laughed. And then I just went back to laughing. And I said, they did it to me again. These fuckers, no wonder I'll never get a brand deal. Curse too much. These motherfuckers did it to me again. How do they keep doing this to me? I look like a fucking clown at the end of the day because I fall for this every time I get invested in a wrestler in WWE, they manage to crush all hope I have for them. The Fiend was the last person on the main roster in the entire company. The Fiend was the only person I was invested in, and they managed to crush that too. So goes all of my hopes and dreams of ever getting back into WWE. That was basically it for me. I'm just like, I don't know if I could ever get into this company again. Really, I don't watch, you guys know this, I don't watch Raw and SmackDown. I haven't for the last 4 years now. But the one time I go on YouTube and I go to WWE's YouTube page and I look for clips of the Firefly Funhouse segment, because that's the only thing that gets me invested in the product, and they managed to have this guy lose to fucking 54-year-old, gassed after 2 minutes Goldberg. It's been like a few days now. It's sat with me. I'm just like, you know what? I can't give them my time anymore. I can't give them my time. I can't. The next big figure, the next big star in WWE to come across, I just can't get into them now. I can't invest in anybody on the main roster anymore, and it's because WWE just screws everybody up that's not named Brock Lesnar, or The Undertaker, or Goldberg, or John Cena. Like, it's always the part-timers. It's always the older guys. They fucking ride on this nostalgia. That's what pisses me off the most. I was born in 1997. I was born in the Attitude Era. Yes, I miss guys like The Undertaker, and John Cena, and Jeff Hardy, and all those guys I grew up on. I miss all those guys. But do I want to see them in the main events of these pay-per-views in 2020? I'm 20, going on 23 years old. I don't want to see this shit. I don't. Once in a blue moon, yes, it's awesome. It's great. It's awesome to see DX reunite like every fucking year. I don't want to see them in the main event. I'm tired of this shit. This is why I don't watch this shit. This is exactly why I don't watch this shit. Let me calm down. Oh my god. On top of the bad booking, it's the constant callbacks to nostalgia. It's good every once in a blue moon, but when you do it so much, it becomes angering because I see through it. I see through, and you all see through it too. They don't have any stars because they refuse to build them. People talk about how WWE doesn't have any stars, or they can't. It's not that they can't build stars. They refuse to build stars. I don't want to hear shit about them. They can't build stars. They refuse to, because they keep on relying on old stars. And the reason they rely on old stars is because people keep on tuning in for this shit, which is why I don't watch it. Last week, NXT and AEW went at it. I gotta calm down now. NXT and AEW went at it. I didn't even fucking watch NXT. I watched AEW in full. Didn't even watch it. I tuned in for the last 2 minutes of NXT. And you want to know who won? Charlotte Flair beat Bianca Belair. And I said, of course she fucking did. Of course she did. Because it's Charlotte Flair. And they build up the same people over and over again. And guess what's going to happen at WrestleMania? Charlotte's going to beat Rhea Ripley for the NXT title. And I'm telling you right now, right this second, I'm telling all of you, I'm not saying if, when, because she will, you know she will. When Charlotte Flair beats Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania, I'm not watching NXT until she loses the title. That's just it. The Wednesday Night War streams will be fucking over. It'll be AEW Dynamite live streams. I am not watching NXT after Charlotte wins the title. I can't get into this fact that we have to go back to previous stars to get the ratings up. Build the stars you have up. That's what pisses me off. They have people. They have a full women's roster, the best women's roster in all of wrestling. But yet they're going to Charlotte Flair to get the ratings up? To carry the women's division? Fuck that, bruh. It's not worth it. It's not worth watching. So when she loses the title, I'll go back to watching NXT. I mean, until then, I'll be watching NXT. Because it's the Wednesday Night War stream. When she loses that shit, I'm done watching NXT. You know what? Probably after WrestleMania, I'm just going to purge WWE for my entire life. I'm not watching anything WWE. No NXT, no Raw, no SmackDown, no pay-per-views, no clips, nothing. I'm just going to purge out my life for an entire month and see what happens. But let's talk about why they've done what they did. WWE, it's been rumored for a while now that they plan on streaming their pay-per-view on ESPN. This pay-per-view being Wrestlemania, of course. They have not confirmed a deal with ESPN, but the idea is that they will get Wrestlemania to stream live on pay-per-view on ESPN network. If this is the case, WrestleMania will probably be $59.99 or $49.99 or basically the same way you just paid for AEW Revolution. They want you to pay for WrestleMania, and that's the reason why we're getting Goldberg versus Roman Reigns WrestleMania, and why we got John Cena returning on SmackDown this week, and he got challenged by the Fiend. The Fiend, who lost the Universal Championship, said, what do I want to do after losing this championship? Oh, I know, feud with fucking John Cena. Why? Why do you want to feud? Didn't you just lose your title? What did John Cena do to you? Huh? What, he buried you 6 years ago? Get over it. Get the fuck over it and move on and go back to wanting to fight for. That's what pisses me off even more than anything. He just acts like he didn't even lose the title. It's like nothing even happened. That's what makes me even more pissed about this whole situation. But we're getting John Cena versus The Fiend at WrestleMania and Goldberg versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Two matches that I feel like did not need to happen at all. And that's what makes me not want to go WrestleMania. I don't plan to go WrestleMania, and this makes me not want to go WrestleMania even more. Because we just pretty much blew up the original plans because we need top stars at WrestleMania. You want to know who those top stars are? It's not Roman Reigns and The Fiend. It's John Cena and Goldberg. And guess who else is getting a match at WrestleMania? The Undertaker. He's probably facing AJ Styles. We go back to this sentiment once again. WWE knows how to build stars, but they refuse to because they already have stars. And it's called the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era. And until we get to the point where these stars stop appearing on shows, which is never going to happen, it's always going to be that way. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins are the only guys right now who are positioned in top positions in WWE. The Fiend isn't even in top position, in my opinion, anymore at this point. It's Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. And guess what? In 10 years, they're going to be in the same exact position that John Cena is right now. And it's sad. It really is. I grew up on WWE, man. It really is sad that I can't get into this product anymore. It's angering, but it's sad overall. And now's my rant. Let's get into some AEW. So AEW Dynamite happened this week. I'm sweating, guys. That's how fucking heated I got. AEW Dynamite happened this week before Revolution. We had one of the best matches on AEW Dynamite since October when I went live on TNT. Pac versus Kenny Omega. I thought they killed it. I thought Pac and Kenny Omega was awesome. I did it in my review of AEW Dynamite. You guys should check that out. I thought it was awesome. And it really showcased the Kenny Omega of old that people hanker for so much. People want the old Kenny Omega back. And this was the slightest glimpse. The slightest glimpse of New Japan Kenny Omega was in this match. Both men went to 1-1 before the time ran out. And they announced sudden death overtime. Kenny Omega hit a V-trigger on a Pac. I believe he hit another V-trigger in a Kamigoye. And then a One-Winged Angel. And then he pinned Pac to win the match. Like I said before, I'm not a big fan of Kenny Omega basically just nerfing Pac in sudden death. But I enjoyed the match overall. On that show, AEW also announced the signing of Lance Archer, which I believe was a great get for AEW. I said in my previous review that they could do a scenario where Lance Archer and Matt Hardy come in as leaders of the Dark Order. Matt Hardy is the Exalted One, and Lance Archer as his, is a second in command. Not so much as heavy, but a second in command. Whenever Matt Hardy's not on TV, Lance Archer can wrestle for him. That's how I would do it. Even if he isn't part of Dark Order, it's still a great way to incorporate bigger guys onto the roster. Now we have Jake Hager, Wardlow. You have Jeff Cobb, I guess, whenever he wants to come into AEW, since he's a freelancer. And Lance Archer. I think that's a good crop of big guys to have. They could use maybe one or two more And then they're set. Oh yeah, don't forget Luchasaurus too. That's 5. 5 big guys. So sign 1 or 2 more, and then they're set. No one can complain about them having a lack of big guys on the roster at that point. Colt Cabana also signed with AEW. He appeared on AEW Revolution, and we got signed and confirmed the night before. Well, not the night before, the night of. I guess this is cool. I mean, he's a Chicago native, so he showed up in Chicago, had a good pop. I mean, I never really cared too much for Colt Cabana. Whenever he's in New Japan, I'm just like, okay, Colt Cabana's here. He's going to team with Toriano. That's awesome, I guess. But, I don't know. I never seen a great Colt Cabana match. I don't really find him super funny like everyone else. The only thing I know Colt Cabana for is the CM Punk interview. That's really all I know him for. His wrestling is nothing I really can brag about. And his segments or his matches are nothing I've only seen like maybe a few. Someone link me to some good Colt Cabana matches. Someone do that so I could do my research. Maybe he has something I don't realize. Maybe he has something that I don't see yet. But this is one of the signings that it's like, okay, that's cool. That's cool they signed him. But one person who has not signed with AEW yet, but is now one of the hottest commodities in all of professional wrestling, is Matt Hardy, who at Revolution, he wasn't there, but was very much a hot topic of Revolution, because Matt Hardy's contract was going to expire on March the 1st. And throughout the night, I was checking Twitter, seeing, did Matt Hardy sign with WWE? Did he resign with WWE? Because I had a pin in my heart that Matt Hardy might resign with WWE. But when 11:59 came around, Jeff Hardy did not resign. So as of today, Matt Hardy is a free agent. He also did a YouTube video for his channel announcing that he's a free agent. He still loves WWE, but creative differences and such. Basically, Matt Hardy is the hottest free agent at 45 years old. And I can't wait to see what he does. Even if he doesn't sign with AEW, I can't wait to see what this guy does, because he's one of the most creative minds in all professional wrestling. And I believe any company he goes to will have a great asset. But if he does go to AEW, the Exalted One will be calling and waiting, and I'll be waiting to watch Dynamite every week for any Matt Hardy segments. But let's get into AEW Revolution, which happened just 2 days ago. I thought it was a damn great show. I like the arena. I like the arena layout. Every pay-per-view AEW's had so far since All Out has had a different layout, and really every pay-per-view since Double or Nothing has had a different layout. And I appreciate that. You know, you see these pay-per-views for WWE like every month, and they seem and look the exact same. So when you go to All Out and you see just the grimy nature, almost like all-in-like nature of the show, then you go to Full Gear, and it's all like all gears and mechanically looking and engineer like an engineer. Then you go to AEW Revolution, and it's all futuristic looking. It's just really cool. And they even gave the crowd these interactive wristbands, which looked even more awesome. It went around with all the entrances people made. It flashed. It was cool. I enjoyed that. They don't do it every show. I think for pay-per-views, they should definitely do it, because that definitely looked really cool. But on the pre-show, we had the Dark Order versus SCU. I don't remember much happening in this match. The only thing I can note for you guys is that Christopher Daniels came out under a hood that looked very, very similar to the robe that Vince McMahon had when he revealed himself as the higher power like 20 years ago. You know the promo, "It's me, Austin! It was me all along, Austin." I even said so in my live stream that he's going to say, "It was me all along, Scorpio and Frankie." I don't know. But he reveals himself, then he hops in a ring, and he goes straight at the Dark Order. So basically, it's not him. We all knew it was not going to be Christopher Daniels, because they made it super apparent that it might be him. So it just couldn't be him at that point. But Dark Order lost this match. SCU are the winners. The Exalted One is coming. And the Exalted One has been a topic of discussion for many people in the wrestling community. And when it's revealed who it's going to be, It's gonna be crazy, man. I tell you, man, it's gonna be Matt Hardy. It's gonna be Matt Hardy. I'm telling you. But then we get into the main show. First match we have is Jake Hager versus Dustin Rhodes. I wouldn't call this a bad match, but it was far from a hot opener. AEW Dynamite has been known for having hot opening matches. One of the most notable, in my opinion, will always be the tag team match between the Young Bucks and Private Party. And then, most notably, most recent, Kenny Omega versus Pac in an Iron Man match. All matches that got you hype and excited for what you were going to see next. But this, I don't know why they had this match going for. The entire time, the entire match, I said, why is this the show opener? Why is this going on first? They should have slotted Darby Allin and Sammy Guevara in this spot. But I trudged through it. I'm like, you know what? It should be a good match if it's going on first. And like I said, it wasn't a bad match, but it was skippable in my opinion. This was a very skippable match. If you didn't catch this match, you didn't catch anything except for Jake Hager making out with his wife. Then his wife was in this match probably for half of it. And she wasn't even ringside. But the camera panned to her like every 10 seconds. And I'm just like, why do you keep panning to her? We get that she's there. But they really love their reactions, don't they? We knock WWE all the time for their crowd reactions, but AEW is a culprit too. So they're going to get just as much criticism as WWE for this. Anyway, Jake Hager won the match. I don't remember how, but he won the match. So that was it. Then we get into the next match. The match that should open the show. Darby Allin versus Sammy Guevara. And this match kicked so much ass. So much ass, man. As soon as Sammy came out, the crowd popped big for him. He got into the ring, he skated down, he got into the ring, and he dove straight at Sammy Guevara, and the bell rung, and that's how he started off. They were going straight at each other, went into the crowd, went into the outside. Darby hit the suicide dive, which he almost damn near killed himself on, like, and bringing value to the name suicide dive, right? So he has Sammy draped on the barricade, facing downwards, head facing the mat. He goes for a dive, and I don't know if he was short or if his legs hit the rope or something. But Sammy got like none of it. The thing that got all this move was the bottom of the barricade and the fucking concrete that Darby hit. I don't know how Darby Allin didn't concuss himself on this spot, but it was nasty. And Darby's willing to do anything and everything to win his matches. But one thing I will say, that man scares the fuck out of me every time. Sammy Guevara also did a really cool spot in here. He got Darby on the apron and did a stomp to him, which also just looked vicious. Like Darby just always putting his body on the line. Then he managed to get Darby Allin on a table. How this is legal, I'll never know. But he got Darby Allin onto a table, right? Goes to the top rope and hits a 630 senton onto Darby through the table. It was wild. And it just kept going. Spot to spot. Darby flying and flinging and sliding all over the place, and Sammy Guevara sliding and slinging and flying and trying to keep each other mat based and then flying because they can't help themselves. It was crazy, man. By the end, Darby Allin hit a coffin drop onto Sammy Guevara. It only took one, and he got the pin. Darby Allin winning this match, and I thought it was a damn good match, a hot match that I think anyone should definitely watch if they have time. I've said it before and I'll say it again. They have something in Darby Allin. If I'm AEW, I'm either putting him into contention for the AEW champ. I'm moving him to number 5 this week. Or that secondary title Cody has been talking about for a while. When that comes to fruition, I'm putting it on Darby. No, end of story. When you talk about the most over guys in AEW right now, it's Darby Allin, Hangman Page. You gotta put Cody in there, I guess. And the Lucha Express. I say this all the time. Damn it! Why do I keep saying the Lucha Express? The Jurassic Express. Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy, Marco Stunt. All those guys, right, I just named, they're the most over guys in AEW. Whenever they come out, they get the biggest pops of the night. You can lump Kenny Omega in there too, I guess. But those guys always get big pops. Darby Allin and Hangman Page among them are two of the biggest, brightest, and you can even say kind of sort of homebred talent that they have. And I think it would be dumb of them not to capitalize on that with both men. We also get into Hangman Page's match next up. Hangman Page and Kenny Omega versus the Young Bucks for the AEW Tag Team Championships. Holy shit, this was, wow, that was a great match. And you know me, not often do I say matches are great. I'm very stringent on what I call a great match. So this was a great match. I might even say slightly beyond great. Maybe not amazing, but a little beyond great. A 30-minute match of just really good, really great, phenomenal tag team action. Everything was built up so well. You had Hangman Page and the Young Bucks having their spots. Hangman Page even spitting on Matt Jackson at one point. Matt Jackson getting all pissed and aggressively attacking him. And the crowd was booing the Young Bucks during this match at some point. Whenever Hangman Page was in the ring, the Young Bucks got booed. Take note of that. Take note of that. Because that will show you right off the bat who your top guys are. And it's Hangman Page. Kenny Omega got in the matches sometimes. He got cheers. But they didn't boo the Young Bucks when Kenny Omega got into the ring. Unless it was like towards the end of the match. And then they were... People knock the Young Bucks a lot. But when they're on, they're on. And I thought they had some really great tag team psychology in this match. Segregating Kenny Omega from Hangman Page. And having Kenny Omega work defense a lot. And really building up to these hot tags for Hangman Page. I thought it worked greatly in this match. The first half, the first 20 minutes were phenomenal. The last 10 minutes were also great, but that's when I get into my nitpick. Yes, this was an above and beyond match, but it became a kick-out fest towards the end. And that's the nitpick I have. With the exception of the one-winged angel, they kicked out of basically everything in this match. The Meltzer driver, the buckshots, the V-triggers, the more bang for your buck, or if they even hit that move, they kicked out of everything. And then to top it all off, Kenny Omega and Hangman Page hit the Yeehaw trigger. Shout out to Blackheart in our live streams who named that move. I joked about it a lot, but now I'm kind of clinging to it. They hit the Yeehaw trigger, and Matt Jackson kicked out of it. And it got a big pop out of me in the crowd, but I was just sitting here like, did they really just kick out of that move? Like, we're 25 minutes into this match and you kick out of the Yeehaw trigger? This move has ended the match many times before. I don't think I would have had them kick out of this move. The move isn't even that relatively old. They've been a team for like, what, 2 months? Maybe 3? I would not have had them kick out of the Yeehaw trigger. Because now you hindered the move a little bit. You could have really built this move up to be something vicious. And it felt like something vicious, but now that it's been kicked out of, now it's not even a question on whether this move is going to be kicked out of or not. Because it's already been nullified in a sense. That was my nitpick. By the time they got to the end, referee said 30 minutes left on the clock, and I said, "Damn, 30 minutes?" And yeah, it was a great match, but it did feel like 30 minutes. It did feel like at times they were stretching this out as much as they could. By the end, Hangman Page had his fiery run. He did a buckshot on the Nick Jackson on the outside, then did a buckshot on Matt Jackson on the inside of the ring, and got the pin. Hangman Page and Kenny Omega retaining the AEW Tag Team Championships. And like I said earlier, I don't understand and I don't like that they kicked out of the Yeehaw trigger, because this sequence, this end of the match, could have been reserved for the V-trigger buckshot spot. But, you know, what am I going to do, right? I'm going to stop watching? Am I going to cancel my AEW network subscription? Nah, man. I'm a diehard. I'm a soldier. You ain't canceling that shit. Not until they start burying our talent. Then we gotta dip. But after the match, the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, they were like talking it out, trying to get Hangman Page to join. And Hangman Page was very hesitant, but he shook the hands of the Young Bucks. He got outside the ring. He was leaving first, and he drops his title. And he's positioning himself for a buckshot to Kenny Omega, and the crowd's like, "Oh my god!" And I'm like, "Oh my god, don't do it! Please don't turn him!" And Kenny Omega turns around. He looks at him. Hangman Page is like, come on, let's go. Let's celebrate. They're teasing the hell out of it. And I like it. They're teasing it. They're not doing it yet. And I said they did not need to turn him heel in this show. And I'm glad they did it. Hangman Page is over. He's over. They can't turn him heel right now. They can't. And if he just gets more over, they're going to have Heyman Page versus Jon Moxley at some point. Maybe as a heel, I don't know, but just keep him running. Keep him going. I love what they're doing, Heyman Page. Don't ruin it. Don't ruin it. Then we get into the next match. Nyla Rose versus Chris Statlander for the AEW Women's Championship. Let me take a swig of my water here. I'm getting all, whew. Whew. Breath, a mouthful I've been talking about there. How many long are we? 51 minutes in? 51 minutes into this. We've been going a long time here for the Chill Pill podcast, man. So we get to Nyla Rose versus Chris Statlander. And the one more nitpick I have about Kenny Omega, Heyman Page versus the Young Bucks. That was match number 3. Not the co-main event. Not even the semi-main event. But match number 3. The middle of the show is when they had the longest match. That handicapped every match after this. When you end your show with your hottest match, that's a great way to end your show. When you start your show with the hottest match, that's a great way to start the show. But when you put it dead ass in the middle, that harms it in a way, because now everybody's got to live up to expectations of that match. And the women just couldn't do it. And they didn't do it. And I feel so bad for them in a sense. I felt really bad for them. Because not only were the fans so depleted and had no energy for this match, but the match was just not good. It was slow. It was boring. And I commend the crowd for not booing them, because the Lord Jesus, if it was WWE, they would have booed the shit out of them. The crowd had respect not to boo these women. But it was just not good. It wasn't bad, but it was not good. And reportedly, Chris Statlander was dealing with the flu. Hopefully it was the flu. Was dealing with the flu during this match. And she credited that to her poor performance. But it was the weakest match on the show. Let's just call a spade a spade. It was the weakest match on the show. And it did no justice to the testament of the women's division being the least desirable part of AEW. I can't honestly pinpoint one or two people being the faults of why AEW's women's division sucks right now. Because it's a collaborative effort. The women, whoever's booking this, they need to work together on this, man. The women's division, I don't want to be a white knight. I don't want to be SJW and be like, the women deserve better. But, NXT signing light is the women's division before Charlotte Flair. When I compare the two, AEW's women's division is like a tiny dot compared to NXT, compared to Stardom and Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling and all these other companies. Impact has a better women's division than AEW. And I'm not talking about Tessa Blanchard as the world champion. I'm talking about the women's division, period. Has a better division than AEW. And it's not the fault of the talent. I'm not questioning the talents of the women. Nyla Rose, I think, is good. She could do some work, but she's good. I think she's great on the mic. Chris Statlander, she's really good. Big Swole's really good. Hikaru Shida's great. Riho's great. Shayna is really good. Sadie Gibbs, whenever the fuck she's on TV, Sadie Gibbs is really good. Penelope Ford is really good. They got talent there. But it's just the utilization is just not there. And when they finally get that down to a T, then we can start talking about the AEW Women's Division in a positive light. But until then, it's just going to be goofed on by, all the wrestling community. The women's division is, I'm not saying it's the laughing stock, because it's not horrible, but it needs a lot of work. And this match was definitely proof of that. But then we get into the next match. One of the most important matches going into this show. Cody versus MJF. You all know the story going into this. I'm not going to detail it, but I thought this is a really good match. I love the story of being told of MJF almost coming across of not wanting to beat Cody Rhodes, but just embarrass him on the greatest stage. And he didn't even need to embarrass Cody, because Cody embarrassed himself with that dumbass tattoo on his neck. Not even his wife likes a tattoo. Why did he get that tattoo on his neck? On his neck. You guys seen a tattoo, I'm sure, but Cody has the The Nightmare Army tattoo splattered right on the right side of his neck. It's big. It's not even. It's a big tattoo. It's a big tattoo. You can't not see it. I don't even think a turtleneck could hide that shit. Like, how? Why? Why? I'm not saying it's a bad tattoo. It's not a bad looking tattoo at all. It's just a positioning. Why did you get it on your neck, child? Of all places. It could have gone on your shoulder. It could have gone on your ankle. Could have gone on your leg, your chest, your back, your neck. Hell, it could have gone on your ass cheeks. And next time Dustin Rhodes moons you, we can see you have a new tattoo on your head. But your neck? And not even like a small, it's a big tattoo on his neck. Look, it's Cody's body. Cody can do whatever he wants, but it's just a distraction now. It's distracting. That's what's really going to kill me in the future. Is that the tattoo is just right there. You can't miss it. It's not even like a black tattoo with like ink. It's red and blue and a little bit of white. You can't miss it. And that's really the eyesore about this whole thing. You can't miss it because it's right there. And I hope and pray that Cody comes to senses and gets their moved. Because it's just distracting. But like I said, Cody's body, he does whatever he wants with it. If he likes it, all the power to him. But let's go about this match. The match itself, I thought was really good. The motions and the interactions and the facial expressions of MJF were just bar none. Great. And it almost felt like subconsciously he wants to be Cody in a sense. He wants everything that Cody has. But nobody on commentaries were ready to bring that up. We're not ready for that discussion yet. But 22 minutes into this match, we got a lot of near falls coming in. Not as many as the tag team match, but we got some near falls coming in. Lots of jabs, lots of old school wrestling mixed in with some flair from MJF. We got a few Wardlow, Brandy Rhodes, and Arn Anderson interferences that I thought really didn't hurt or added much to the match, except for when Cody kind of accidentally booted Arn in the chest. And that led to many thinking that Arn was going to turn on him, which never happened. In the end, MJF was basically getting his ass kicked for like the last 5 minutes of the match. So much so he was bleeding. Cody was standing over top of him. MJF was crawling to Cody, and he started crying at his feet. And I'm just like, wow. Wow, this is what I paid to see, man. This is what I paid to see. And he's slowly crawling his way up to Cody, and he hugs him, crying, trying to beg Cody for forgiveness. And you know the turn's coming. And it's like, is Cody going to fall for this? Cody's fell for this already. You can't fall for it again. And Cody, to his credit, did not fall for it. He answers back with a crossroads to MJF. That's ended there. He gets him up. It's a second crossroads to MJF. Then he gets him up for a third one. And MJF knees him in the face. How did he no-sell all two crossroads? I'll never know. But he reaches in his pockets. Referee doesn't see this somehow. Gets his dynamite ring. And he bops Cody right in the face. He falls onto him. 1, 2, 3. And just like that, MJF gets the win over Cody. I loved this finish. I loved it. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I loved it. Just the way it built up with MJF crying and wanting Cody to forgive him, but Cody saying, no, F you. And then MJF says, oh, F me, F you. And he takes the dynamite ring, the one that he won from Cody's own company, and knocks him out and wins it built up so perfectly. It was out of nowhere. It wasn't pretty. It was gritty. It got great heat on MJF. What more can you ask for? This is why Cody's one of the masters of storytelling of professional wrestling. And you gotta love him for it. Even if he makes himself look like a bigger star than everyone else in his company. You gotta love him for it. Did this live up to expectations? Did this live up to expectations? This was probably the longest built up match out of every match on this show. Did it feel like the proper way to execute a match of this caliber? Yes. Triple thought. Oh my god. Triple dot, ellipsis.
but it doesn't feel like the end of the feud. You know what I don't feel like this felt like the means to an end. With Cody versus Shawn Spears, that felt like it could have been the end, and it was the end. With Cody versus Chris Jericho, that felt like the end. This didn't feel like the end. Especially with the way the finish happened, it couldn't be. It can't be. I feel like there's one or maybe even two more matches for these two on Dynamite. And that's where we get into the announcement for AEW Dynamite Presents Blood and Guts. They didn't call it this, but it's basically a War Games match happening on March 25th at the Prudential Center in New Jersey. It's going to be the biggest venue they run in all of AEW Dynamite, so they had to stack it up. And boy, are they stacking this up with the first ever War Games match in AEW history. And you know, with AEW calling it Blood and Guts, it's gonna be bloody, it's gonna be crazy, it's gonna be gritty. I'm ready for it. I'm here for it. I am perfectly ready to just do a whole AEW live stream and just say fuck NXT. But we'll see what they do. So, my question is, what do you guys do for this show? Because I know what I do for this show. I said it on my live stream. I know what they do for this show. I said that it doesn't feel like the means to end with MJF and Cody. And here's what you do. In my opinion, I believe War Games, well, the Match Beyond is what they're going to call it. But for War Games at AEW Dynamite Blood and Guts, they do them 4-on-4. You have Team MJF, the team of MJF, Wardlow, Chris Jericho, and Sammy Guevara versus Team Cody. Cody, Jon Moxley, Darby Allin, and Lance Archer. MJF, Wardlow, Chris Jericho, and Sammy Guevara versus Cody, Lance Archer, Darby Allin, and the AEW champion, Jon Moxley, in the first ever War Games match. Because think about it. Cody gets to feud with MJF a little bit longer. Chris Jericho and Jon Moxley get their rematch in a cage match. Basically, shades of their former dumbass cage match from Extreme Rules like 4 years ago. So you get back to that. You also get back to the really great match you get off of Sammy Guevara and Darby Allin at Revolution. And then you get the battle of the big guys of Wardlow and Lance Archer. Tell me you wouldn't pay to see it, because I fucking would. And if you want to stretch it out with MJF and Cody, and even Jericho and Moxley, and Darby and Guevara, here's what you do for the finish. You have Team Cody looking like they're about to win, but then Lance Archer turns on his team. He lays out Cody, he lays out Moxley, and he lays out Darby Allin. And I believe you have MJF pin Darby Allin in that match. He doesn't pin the champion. He doesn't pin Cody. He doesn't pin Archer because Archer later right out. He pins Darby to get heat because Darby's the most over guy they have. And MJF, Team M Jericho, wins the first ever Match Beyond. That's how I would do AEW Dynamite Blood and Guts. What do you guys think? Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think about that scenario and what match you would do at Blood and Guts. But then we continue on with the rest of the card for AEW Revolution. We get into the co-main event of the evening, Pac versus Orange Cassidy. And I love this match way more than I should. But I thought this match was awesome. It was exactly what it needed to be, and what I think a lot of people didn't expect it to be. But it was comedy and competitiveness mixed in ever so greatly. The beginning of the match, Orange Cassidy's doing his shtick. He's doing the kicks to the leg. Pac's mocking him, doing it back, showing him up. But Orange Cassidy starts showing Pac up a little bit. Hands in his pockets, glasses on. He's doing arm drags. He's doing ranas. Crowd's going crazy for it. He even hits a dive. And he's showing off, and then Pac starts shutting him down. Pac's not standing for any of this bullshit. He's beating him down with backbreakers and all this type of stuff. Cassidy tries to come back a little bit, but Pac shuts him down again. Then, he gets him on the outside. Cassidy manages to kip up. It hits a dive. And then shit start getting real a little bit. They start going at each other a little bit more. A little bit more. And then Pac shuts him down again. He goes for a Black Arrow. Orange Cassidy starts rolling. And then he goes for it again. And Orange Cassidy starts rolling again. He goes to attack him. Orange Cassidy gets him on the outside and hits another suicide dive. And then shit got real. He got into the ring. And Orange Cassidy, best performance he's had all of his career possibly, starts going at Pac. And I know it's not because I've seen Orange Cassidy in a plethora of matches before AEW. But he starts going at Pac with all he has. He hits a tilt-a-whirl DDT. He hits a high-fly fucking flow. And he even hits a Superman punch. That I'm going to call now the Citrus Punch. And here's what I like about this. He didn't get 2 counts for every fall. There were some falls he got 2s, and there were some falls he even got 1 counts. Like, Pac just did not want to sell for Cassidy. But it just added to the match that Pac was kicking out of 1 at some points. And Orange Cassidy lays him out with an air raid siren, but only gets a 2 count. And then I don't know why the Lucha Bros came out, but the Lucha Bros come out. And the Best Friends, who are ringside for this, they fight out the Lucha Bros. At least they try to fight out the Lucha Bros. Orange Cassidy is distracted. He gets put down by Pac with the Rings of Saturn, and he taps out. And Pac wins this match, avenging his loss from Kenny Omega on Dynamite. Pac's another guy we gotta watch out for. We all know how talented he is, but he could be contending for the AEW title very soon. I could definitely see Pac versus Chris Jericho main eventing a Dynamite very soon. But it looks like they're building up Pac and not the Best Friends. Pac and the Lucha Bros versus Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends on a future Dynamite, and I'm ready for it. People were saying they're blowing off too many Dynamite matches too quickly, and they have a lot more in the tank, man. They have a lot more in the tank. Then we get to the main event of the evening. Jon Moxley versus Chris Jericho for the AEW Championship. We had a Philly native in Meredith Bell with the Philly Choir sing Chris Jericho's Judas in a very soulful, harmonious manner, and I loved every single second of it. Please invite Meredith Bell back to sing out some more people. I mean, not every show. Maybe Double or Nothing she sings Jericho out again. Or sign her. Have her do some songs for AEW. I'm just saying. Represent Philly. Let's stand up. Getting into the match, I thought it was good. Not great necessarily, but I thought it was good. Maybe I would go as far as say it was a pretty good match. I felt like after Pac versus Orange Cassidy and a tag team match earlier, slowing it down with the main event may not have been the best decision, but you can't not main event with the AEW Championship match. So, and maybe I've been streaming for 5 hours, so I was tired as well, but I was yawning a little bit in this match. It wasn't boring, I was just tired. And it's not a match of the candidate by any means, and it wasn't the best performance by either man. But it told a pretty good story, and I hate saying it told a good story because it's so overused, but it did. With Chris Jericho working over Jon Moxley's eye. One point he powerbombs Jon Moxley on the announce table, and the bell's right there, and it clocks Moxley in the head, and he starts bleeding, and the blood starts seeping from the eye patch, and it's like, holy shit, it re-injured the eye. Jon Moxley be blind for most of this match, and Jon Moxley is selling it, and Jericho's working over it, and taking advantage of it, and by the end, Chris Jericho is setting up for the Judas effect, and Jon Moxley ducks it, and it's a paradigm shift. And he gets up, and he takes off the patch, and he reveals that it was all a ruse. He swears everybody. He is not blind. Thankfully, none of the crowd watched any New Japan shows lately. But Jon Moxley gets Jericho one more time, hits an elevated paradigm shift, gets the 3 count, and is your new AEW World Champion. It was a great way to go off fair. It was a great sight to see Jon Moxley as the AEW World Champion. It felt like such a bigger deal than him winning the WWE Championship all those years ago. It felt like a bigger deal. I'm not just saying that because it's 2020 and AEW is a new company. It just felt like this felt like the end of a story. This felt like if we never went back to Jon Moxley vs. Jericho again, which we should, and I think we will at Blood and Guts, I would be mad because this felt like we're getting into a new period for AEW. I'm not saying a new era because I hate when people say that shit, but Jon Moxley as the world champion feels like we're getting into some more good stuff. A lot of new storylines being advanced here. I'm excited for what's to come for AEW. And I'll end it there. That is Chill Pill Podcast episode 9. What did you guys think? Comment down below. Let your boy know. I love you guys as always, and I will see you all next week. Hopefully I have it up for Chill Pill Podcast episode 10. Peace out, guys.